All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. So today, I'm just gonna be going over my life story. I'm gonna tell you guys, who I am and what I do and what I've gone through and just my whole life story. So if you guys don't already know who I am, my name is Alex or AJ Trades. That's my personal brand, and I've been trading for just about 3 years now, and it's been a wild freaking ride, dude. It's been a brutal journey, and that's the reality when it comes to trading, bro. It's a brutal freaking path to be on, bro, and it's really not for the weak-minded. It's for people who can really take a beating mentally over and over and over and over again, and really just keep coming back stronger and stronger. Right? It's one of those things where you need to be mentally and clinically insane to actually continue going after getting beaten and bent over many times. And for my case, like I said, I've been trading for 3 years, just about. And for the first year, I wasn't making a single dime of money. I wasn't making anything, dude. So you have to be insane to want to go through a year of your life and not make any money, but still show up every single day, even on losing streaks, even on days where you feel like it's never gonna work, and actually continue doing it. So it's difficult, but to get to my story and who I am, like I said, my name is Alex. Trading for just about 3 years, and I was never the type of person to really want to work for somebody. I never liked the idea of going to school and then getting a job and then working for someone, not necessarily making a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with the 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong necessarily with a job. If you're making 60, 100 grand a year, 200 grand a year, there's nothing bad about that. But it really just depends on the type of person you are. And me personally, I didn't want to put myself in that situation because I know I only have one life and I need to make the best out of my one life. And I don't want to spend my life answering to somebody else who built their dream and now I'm just working for them. You know what I mean? So that was me, and I hated that idea. So when I was a junior in high school, I graduated in 2021, by the way. I'm 23 years old as well. So when I graduated in 2021, I didn't really know what the hell I wanted to do with my life. I had no clue. I know I didn't want to go to college, and I know I didn't want to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. Those are the two things I really understood about myself, and I knew for a fact I didn't want to do. But in 2020, a year before I graduated, one of my buddies, he actually introduced me to trading, and he just kind of told me what it was. He sent me some YouTube videos to watch, but I never really took it seriously. It was one of those things where I saw it. I saw the potential money that could be made with it, but like I said, I never took it seriously. I didn't really sit down and study, understand concepts, and understand risk management and psychology. I never understood any of that, and I thought it was just one of those get-rich-quick schemes, and that if I got into it, put some money in, I'd make a shit ton of money. But oh god, that was not even nearly what the truth was about trading. So I got humbled very quickly. But just to kind of go back to where I was, 2020, he put me onto trading, and I actually didn't get started like actually trading. I didn't really get into it and start studying until 2023 of March. So like I said, we're coming on 3 years here. And it was one of those cases where from 2020 all the way up to 2023, I was working a few jobs here and there. I couldn't stick at a job for more than 2 years. No, more than 2 months. Sorry, more than 2 to 3 months. I would quit. I wouldn't even put in 2 weeks because I just hated it, dude. It was one of those things where I was just like, what the hell am I doing with my life? Am I really just going to show up at this place every single day to make $16, $17 an hour and have to listen to all these people talk to me? Serve these people, do this, do that. I hated it. It was like the worst experience of my freaking life. And same with college, bro. I did 1 semester of college when I graduated high school. 1 semester. Dude, I was borderline suicidal. I hated my life. At the time, I would rather not work a job and just be completely just depressed, sitting at home and just trying to figure something else out, right? It didn't make sense to me. So from 2020 to 2023, I just spent a lot of time, bouncing around between jobs and figuring out and this is after I dropped out, by the way, of college. And I was just trying to figure out what the hell am I gonna do with my life, bro. I tried I tried copywriting, I tried SMMA, I tried drop shipping. I had a couple successful stores, but I just didn't like what I was doing. I wasn't, I guess, passionate about it. And I know there's some people out there who might say, you know, sometimes you're gonna have occupations or jobs that you're not passionate about, but they make money, so you know it works. But dude, I need to like what I do for me to want to actually stick with it for that long. And I believe that's one of the reasons why, even after a year of not making a single fucking dime trading, I enjoyed myself, even through the losses, even through the pain and the brutality of it all. I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I knew that this was something I could make work. Excuse me. I knew that it was something that would work eventually if I just kept showing up every single day. I followed my rules and I did everything that I was supposed to. Built up good habits, showed discipline, all that stuff. I knew that in the back of my mind, regardless of the whole year that I wasn't making any money. And yeah, 2023 came around. I started to look into ICT concepts because I thought that, you know, a lot of people were saying, oh, ICT is a scam, like blah, blah, blah. But the dude had subscribers, right? Why would people follow this guy if he wasn't actually helping people become profitable? You know, it was just common sense. I was just thinking logically. So I studied some of his content. You know, I didn't watch the whole 2022 mentorship. I watched a couple videos, but I was just joining communities, you know, free communities. Sometimes I'd spend, you know, 40, $50 to join a community and just understand different strategies and whatnot. And it was kind of a good and a bad thing because I would join these communities, I would spend some money, I would learn a strategy, I would try it, you know, I'd lose a couple trades, I'd be on to the next. I would strategy hop like crazy. I couldn't stick to one thing. And that's something I wish I knew earlier, that it would have immensely boosted my progress if I just stuck to one strategy at the time. And you know, I was the one, I joined different groups too. I took signals, I did stupid things, and you know, I took signals, passed some accounts, but myself psychologically I wasn't able to get to that point where I was actually going to take consistent payouts. You know, I would get one payout away or one day away from a payout, and then I would blow the account. You know, and I remember vividly as well, the first day I took a payout, I got literally, I think my balance was like, and this was on a 50K top step, by the way, my balance was around like 3,200, and I knew I could take out 50%. So in my mind, I'm thinking like, holy shit, I could take out like 1,500, $1,600 or like, you know, close to $2,000 if I win this next trade. And that got to me. The money and the potential realized gain of that money got to me. And I lost the trade, tilted out, blew the account. And I probably did that within my first year of trading a good 7 or 8 times. I'm not even kidding, probably more. And I realized like, holy shit, what am I doing, bro? Like, why am I doing this to myself? I could have made so much money by now. I could have been in such a good spot if I just stopped being a complete idiot. And yeah, I had to change something, bro. I had to change it. And when I realized that I was being a complete idiot, I actually started to change things. And that's when I locked in completely, bro. I would maybe join one community. I think it was one community. I joined one community, learned the concepts, learned the ideas, learned how to read the market, learn how to read structure. And I found, I guess you could say I created my own strategy. I don't know. I could say that, and then there's other people that do trade exactly how I do. But what I did, I went on FX Replay. I back tested literally thousands of trades. I wanted this so bad. I wanted it so freaking bad. So I back tested so many different trades. I understood, yo, this strategy freaking works, bro. It's good. I had like a mid 70% win rate with like an average risk to reward of like 1.5. It worked. And I knew that if I just let the probabilities play out, didn't let my mind and psychological aspect of it all tilt me out, I would be profitable and I would be able to take consistent payouts from the market. So I did that. Second year into trading, like I said, I got that 50K account, and I got it to a pretty good balance. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember getting a couple grand or something, like a couple grand and some change, something like that for my first payout. And I was like, damn, this is real. This actually works. And if I just continue to trade how I've been trading, I can be a consistently profitable trader. And that is what I did. Of course, you know, we're human, dude. We're going to have days where we tilt out. No matter how good your strategy is, no matter how disciplined and how good of habits you built up over time, you're going to tilt. You're going to have bad days. It happens. You're going to have losing streaks. So you can't ever prevent that, okay? It's literally just part of the game, dude. It's a canon event. Everybody goes through it. And yeah, dude, from that point forward, I was just dead set on following my rules, being consistent, sticking to that one strategy, not worrying about what everybody else was doing on social media, because that would affect me at times. I realized, what am I doing? So there was a time I deleted social media, all social media, for a good 3 to 4 months, and then I just locked in on the charts and just focused on what I was supposed to focus on. And that's when things were starting to change in my life. Um, there was a few things in, sorry about that. There was a few things in my life that I did change outside of trading, which did help me out a little bit more. You know, going to the gym, eating right, doing things that I would say I would do, and overall just being more disciplined. It definitely helped me out a little bit on the charts. And I mean, I just wish I started trading earlier, you know? But the one thing about taking all these payouts and making all this money, dude, when you get your first payout and you keep making more money and more money and more money, you're never going to be satisfied. And that's a gift and a curse, because at the same time, you have to show some gratitude. You know, you have to look in the mirror and ask yourself, would I rather be in this position as opposed to where I was a year ago? And 100% of the time, you're going to say, yeah, of course. I would rather have $100,000 in my bank account than when I had $200 in my bank account, right? So you're always going to be wanting more, but you have to realize where you came from and how far you've actually come as a trader. So, yeah, dude, like I said, trading is a brutal, brutal freaking business model. And if you really want to get into it, you need to just put your head down. You can't have trading as a freaking side hobby. I don't know how many people I have to tell this exact thing to. If you want to day trade, it has to be like a full-on thing for you. You can have a job on the side, but you need to focus almost all of your attention on the charts and focus on getting profitable. Okay? No side hobby, none of that shit. It doesn't work like that. I promise you that. So, yeah, dude, I just want to come on here and really just tell you guys, please, bro, if you really want this, don't give up on trading. This is going to change your life. Whether you want to help your family out, whether you want to help your friends out, whoever you want to help all around you, this will do that for you. And just to kind of be honest with you, in my personal situation, I grew up in a pretty wealthy family. My parents never really had issues with money, so I was really able to focus on exactly what I wanted to do. I wasn't necessarily helped out in life, in the sense of like financially. Yeah, you could say, yeah, I was provided for. I had shelter, I had food, I had everything, but I had to pay for all my stuff, right? My parents bought my first car, but from then on, I had to pay for everything myself. My first car that I bought myself was a 2006 Mercedes. I spent like $6,000 on it, and it was just from working jobs, bro. Working jobs, and I'm glad they put me in that position to, you know, really tell me like, hey, you need to work for things on your own. We're not going to give you anything, right? And I'm going to be the same with my kids, right? I'm glad my parents did that. There's a lot of kids my age and in my situation with the cards that I've been dealt in life, and they just take advantage of their parents' wealth. And it's kind of unfortunate, but I've spent the last 2.5 years, bro, just grinding my tail off, bro, and just getting what I want in life, dude. And my parents were always supportive of me, you know? Even at my lowest of lows, you know, my parents, when I was completely broke and I was trying to pass evals, my parents would, you know, they would loan me some money to buy a couple funded accounts here and there. And that, I'm really grateful for that. I just want to be honest about that with you guys. But once it came to the point where I was starting to make my own really good money, they completely stopped, right? You know, and I'm glad they did that. I'm really glad that they made me fend for myself and didn't just baby me the whole way. And I'm glad they were supportive of what I wanted to do. At the start, they weren't really, because they didn't really understand what trading was, and you know how you know the ins and outs of it all. They thought it was gambling, all this stuff. And then once I really sat down with them and talked about it, they kind of understood it. So yeah, like I said, boys, don't give up on trading, and just show up every single day. And I promise you, at some point, whether it's next month, whether it's next year, whatever it is, whatever God has been stored for you and whatever you think could happen, it will happen. So yeah, just want to give you my story. And yeah, that's really all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like on the video, leave some comments. I'd love to see what you guys have to say about your own personal stories and all that good stuff. Also, I want to I'm in the process of building a community with you guys. I currently am live trading for free every Tuesday through Thursday. So if you're not already in my Peak Equity Discord community, make sure to go and join. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Completely free, like I said. You can hop in there. Building a community. We're going to live trade. You can understand how I view the markets, take my trades, all that good stuff. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Like, comment, and I will see you in the next video.